Go ahead, get out your iPad, or get out your notebooks. Title the next blank left page, EOG review. Alright, so when you have this done. Recommend if you've not completed any club yet. Alright, you need to get your iPad and go outside and finish it. Anybody else not completed Ames Web? I know you're killing me right now. Open up your iPad and get to Ames Web so I can just tell you what it is. Theo, you haven't finished yours, you need to go outside and finish yours. And Zoe B says you haven't finished yours. Did you finish it yesterday? So guys, when I say, have you finished your Ames Web, raise your hand. It's not because you're in trouble, it's because I need you to finish them. Go outside and finish your Ames Web. Alright, your username is TR4 on SW. Okay, have a seat. So we are starting our EOG review. You will notice over here, obviously, we have different topics or a stretch of topics for each day. Yesterday, we did get to the dividing fractions, just because other things pop up, things happen. Each day for EOG reviews, we are going to do a brain dump on that topic. All right, what that means is you are going to have 5 minutes where you just write as much as you can remember about that topic. So that means as soon as I say go, you write. You don't stop writing until the timer goes off. I mean, if you take a deep breath, fine. But like the point of it is you're writing for that full 5 minutes and getting all the information you can possibly think of. Look around the room, whatever you need to help you to get the information on your page. The other thing, it's not full sentences. It's bullets, it's keep, change, flip, it's flip the second one. I mean, everything that you can possibly think of. So you're just writing information. You're not writing full sentences, you're not doing stuff like that. It's just quick ideas that you can think of. Everyone put your pencils down. Nobody should be writing. We're not doing it here. Then we are gonna go through some practice EOG questions. We'll go through those together. You guys will be annotating on your iPads. I'll be annotating on the board for you. And then you'll notice for today, we do have stations, and I will show you once we kind of shift over. You will be moving seats because you're not rotating with the people that you're sitting with right now. And you do have a specific station that you're going to be at. Now, it's going to be a little different because, again, today we have all the stations out that we originally were going to split between 2 days. So probably what we'll do today is you'll just rotate in with those people and just sit at a table, and then we'll rotate through just so you guys kind of get the idea of how it's gonna work. This week, we're rotating through stations. Next week, it's gonna be here's a list of things, you need to complete them. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna try it both ways and see which way you guys like best. During this station or independent or partner activity time, because not everything that you're gonna do is independent. Like there's some things like this table, you guys are playing a game. I think Ronnie's group, what does yours say, matching game?
It's task cards.
Does yours say matching game? So like that table where Will is sitting, you're working with a partner matching. Okay, so not every single thing that you do is independent. This table over here, you guys are playing essentially, what is it, roll, spin, solve? I mean, so again, you're playing with a partner, you're playing as a group, depending. So don't think that you're gonna just independently be working. Now, we don't have any more tests for the rest of the year. We don't have any more quizzes for the rest of the year. So how are we gonna collect grades, right? It doesn't just stop. So every Friday, or every Monday, for the next 3 weeks, when we start, you're going to get this sheet. You'll keep track of what stations you completed for the week here. They'll be turned in on Friday. Pick one station from each day that you would like to be graded. So like, let's say you're at this station and you did not focus. You didn't get but like 2 done. That's probably not the station that you want me to grade that day, right? So this kind of gives you the option of telling us, okay, this is what I did the best on, this is what I want graded. And then like, so Monday is gonna be null and void because we didn't do it yesterday. So Tuesday, you're gonna write all the stations that you rotated through or got to today. Might only be 2, just depends on how long it takes us to get through the other stuff. Then you're gonna circle or highlight whichever station you want graded, and then you're gonna rewrite that title. So there's the only way that you don't get a grade for that day is if you don't do your part. So not only are you circling and highlighting, but you're also rewriting. So you are picking what we are grading. Does that make sense? And then you'll get your grade over here, and then the final grade for the week. And that is what we are going to take as grades. So if you don't turn this in, if you don't fill this out, how many zeros do you get for the week? 5. You get 5 zeros for the week. Because every day you're getting a grade, and then you get a final grade on Friday. Does that make sense? I need you guys to understand, like this falls on you. So if you cut up the entire day and you have no good stations for that day, whose fault is that? It's yours. We are trying to give you a little bit of choice. We're trying to give you a little bit of, like I said, next week, you're picking the activities that you want to do. So this week, we're still kind of guiding you, like, hey, you have to go here and here and here and here. Next week, you get to pick. All right? At Wyatt's group, there is a, like, color sheet. Everybody will get one of those no matter what. That will be your homework tonight. Okay? So, it's just practicing dividing fractions. And I feel like there's not a ton of questions on our EOG review, which is a reflection of what the EOG is, but dividing fractions is one of those things that you either really get it or you really don't, right? All right, so let's look over here real quick at our assumption questions. It says, what are some strategies we can use and remember to solve real-world math problems involving dividing fractions? So who would like to give me a strategy that they remember? Obviously, the keep, change, flip. That should be everybody's like kind of go-to. What's another strategy? Like, can we keep, change, flip, mixed numbers? No, we can't. So what do we have to do with our mixed numbers? Ronnie?
You have to times the whole number by the division.
Okay, that's the process, but what do we have to do? So a mixed number has to be something what?
Improper fraction.
Okay. And then if we have 2.5, we do 2 times 2 plus 1 equals 5 halves. That's what you meant? Okay? What else? Yes. simplify answers? Or just simplify? Alright, anything else? Okay, and that's fine, because I'm gonna have each class add a little bit to that today, so that's fine. Alright, on our brain dump, we are going to do this together today just so you kind of see. So you have a good model of what the expectations will be for tomorrow. Alright, so I'm gonna set my timer for 5 minutes. And you guys are just going to raise your hand rapid fire. Like I said, you can use anything in the classroom that will help you. And even if it's obviously we don't want to repeat everything on here, but it doesn't have to be a full, complete sentence. I want you guys to understand it's just bullets of information. All right, go. Ronnie, guys are not writing, you're writing what I write.
Change mixed numbers to improper fractions.
All right, change mixed numbers to improper fractions. All right, what else? Come on, y'all, raise your hand, raise your hand. Lily.
Keep, change, flip.
Keep, change, flip. What else? Christiana.
Simplify answers.
All right, what else? What else do we need to know about fractions in order to be able to solve them? Lily.
If you have a whole number, turn it into a fraction by putting a 1 underneath.
Okay, whole number equals 6 over 1 or whatever number over 1. All right, what else? What else, y'all? What else? It's gotta be more. Look around the room. Dividing fractions. What does it tell us to do with dividing fractions? Multiply the what?
The whole number by
And you do that when? Okay, so multiply a whole number by denominator to change to a mixed number. All right, what else? Emma.
Divide answer by numerator.
Divide answer by numerator. For what?
Get up a number to.
So essentially when you have that mixed number, right? To get, it should be divide denominator, sorry. By numerator to get whole number answer. All right, what else? So if you guys are writing, you still have 2.5 minutes that you have to keep writing with the information. So at this point, could you do an example?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's put an example on our page. Lily.
2/3 divided by 1/6.
Okay, so 2/3 divided by 1/6. I'm gonna keep, change, flip. So 2/3 stays the same. Change division to multiplication and flip my second fraction. Multiply straight across and I get 12/3. What do I do with 12/3?
You can simplify it.
Okay, so I can divide it by 3, which gives me what, 4 over 1, which becomes 4. Okay?
I'm gonna do another 10.
Mm-hmm.
5 times.
How about we do a mixed number one?
Okay. 3 and 1/3 divided by 2/5.
Okay. Alright, so here we have to change this to an improper fraction, so we do 3 times 3 plus 1. 3 times 3 is what?
9.
9 plus 1 is 10. So this becomes 10 thirds divided by 2 fifths. So I'm going to keep change flips, so 10 thirds, sorry, times 5 over 2. Multiply straight across. What do you get when you do 10 times 5, William?
50.
What do you get when you multiply 3 times 2?
6.
Alright, and then how do I take 56 and make it a mixed number? What do I do there? Mikhail? 50 divided by 6. 6 times what gives me 50, or really close to 50 without going over? Kylie?
8.
And then I do the circle, arrow. So this becomes 8 and 2 6. What can I do with 8 and 2 6? What can I do with 8 and 2 6? Christiana. So I'm going to divide it by what? 5. So it becomes 8 and 1/3. Alright, so that was 5 minutes of writing. 5 minutes doesn't sound like a long time, right? But that was kind of rough.
Yeah.
How do you think you would have done had I not been guiding you? You think you would have had that much on your paper?
No.
Alright. It's also training your brain, guys, to, okay, I have 5 minutes. Now, what we want you to essentially do on the day of the EOG for math is give yourself 7 minutes and you're filling up the entire page with everything that we've reviewed, not just a specific topic. Does that make sense? Now, the downfall of this is that some people will spend 30 minutes doing this. We don't want 30 minutes. That's why every day we're going to do 5 minutes. Whatever you can get on your paper in 5 minutes is what we want. We do not want you to go over that. Now, we say 7 minutes because, let's be real, by the time you actually take a deep breath and start and think, your mind's going to be jumbled that day anyway. So 7 minutes is a good time. We do not want you to go longer than 7 minutes. You will have a clock in the room. So you'll be able to say, okay, we started at 9:15, 7 minutes from now is 9:22. I need to be done with my job no matter what by 9:22. Okay? Alright, so slide over to the top of the next right page and we're going to write EOG review. Dividing fractions. And today's date, which is 5/9. Now, you guys are going to be doing the work for the word problems in your notebook. What are you going to be annotating on? Your iPad. So go ahead and make sure I have this published for you guys. Oh, I lied. We have to actually watch 2 little videos too. So, just kidding. So you can close your iPads for the moment. Just move in as slow as the rest of us, right? Nothing. It works, it's just I can't, so this is gonna be the station rotation, like what it's gonna look like today. So these are the groups you're gonna be sitting with, and you'll notice there are 5 people in a group, so we're gonna have to just shift some chairs around. And then we'll talk about each one of these once we get there. This timer will be going. Okay, so you have 20 minutes per station. I'm not sure why it took us there. We'll just, maybe I moved too fast. I'm actually going to be writing on the board up here to complete the problems because I don't want, it's 132 pages and I don't want to print that 3 times. Yeah, all the review stuff, so that's why I'm doing it on the board today. All right, so we're gonna watch 2 videos. Do not shoot the messenger. However, I had entirely too much fun finding these videos for you guys. So, you're welcome. Thank me later. What? You're
To divide by a fraction, here's a 10. Keep, change, flip. To divide by a fraction, here's a 10. Keep, change, flip. To divide 1/2 by 1/6. Keep, change, flip. 1 times 6 is 6 and 2 times 1 is 2. It's an improper fraction, so we're not through. Divide 6 by 2 and the quotient is 3. Keep, change, flip. It's all that you need to divide by a fraction. Here's a 10. Keep, change, flip. To divide by a fraction. Here's a 10. Keep, change, flip. To divide 2/5 by 1/5. Keep, change, flip. 2 times 5 is 10, and 5 times 1 is 5. It's an improper fraction, so you need to divide. 10 divided by 5 equals 2. When we divide by fractions, this is what we do. To divide by a fraction, here's a 10. Keep, change, flip. To divide by a fraction, here's a 10. Keep, change, flip. Keep, change, flip. Keep, change, flip may seem to work magically, but it can be explained mathematically. With the number 10, we can divide by 2, and that will leave 5 in each group. Or we can find that 5 through a different path by multiplying 10 by 2, flip to 1/2. It's the trick that never fails, called keep, change, flip. It's real magic, so use this tip.
We understand with these problems we love, because we know division means has harmony groups of.
Let's explore that thought. How many groups of fourths does 1/2 got? 2 fourths fit into 1/2 perfectly, and we found the quotient mentally. To divide by a fraction, here's a 10. Keep, change, flip. To divide by a fraction, here's a 10. Keep, change, flip. To divide by a fraction, here's a 10. Keep, change, flip. To divide by a fraction, here's a 10. Keep, change, flip. Visit numberrock.com for exclusive content, lesson materials, and more. Thanks for watching.
You're welcome. Just be glad you don't have to listen to that once a day. I have to listen to it 3 times. Y'all, I'll review the same. They don't test on 7th grade. They test on 6th grade stuff. Yep. All right, so here's another video that you are gonna watch. It's not as near as bad as that one is.
Hi, welcome to Math Antics. This video is all about dividing fractions. But in order to understand how dividing fractions works, we first need to learn about something called reciprocals. A reciprocal is just a fancy math term for what you get when you switch the top and bottom numbers of a fraction. For example, if you have the fraction 1/2 and then switch the top and bottom numbers, you'll end up with 2/1. 2/1 is the reciprocal of 1/2, and 1/2 is the reciprocal of 2/1. And an interesting thing about reciprocals is multiplying a fraction by its own reciprocal will always give you 1. That's because you'll have the same multiplication problem on the top and bottom, so you'll end up with a whole fraction, which is always 1. Okay, that's nice. But what do reciprocals have to do with dividing fractions? Well, reciprocals let us do a really cool trick that makes dividing fractions easy. Whenever you have to divide something by a fraction, you can just multiply it by the reciprocal of that fraction instead, and you'll get the correct answer. And that's great news because multiplying fractions is so simple. This trick of multiplying by the reciprocal works because fractions are really just mini division problems. So when you multiply something by 1 over 2, it's the same as dividing by 2, since 2 is below the fraction's division line. And dividing by 2 is the same as dividing by 2 over 1, because you can turn any number into a fraction by just writing a 1 as the bottom number, right? But look, reciprocals. That's why multiplying by 1 over 2 is the same as dividing by 2 over 1. And it's true the other way around, too. So really, it's kind of like you never have to divide fractions. You can just rewrite your division problems so that you're multiplying by the reciprocal instead. Then when you multiply, you'll get the answer for the original division problem. As always, let's see a couple examples of how this works so you'll really understand. Let's try this problem. 3 over 4 divided by 2 over 7. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is rewrite our problem. Instead of dividing by 2 over 7, we can multiply by the reciprocal instead. The reciprocal of 2 over 7 is 7 over 2. So our problem becomes 3 over 4 times 7 over 2. Oh, I should mention a mistake that a lot of students make when they first learn to divide fractions. Sometimes students take the reciprocal of the first fraction, the one that's being divided, or even the reciprocal of both fractions. But you only want to take the reciprocal of the second fraction, the one you're dividing by. Okay, now that our problem has been changed to multiplication, it's easy. Just multiply the tops. 3 times 7 equals 21. And multiply the bottoms. 4 times 2 equals 8. And we have the answer to our fraction division problem. So 3 over 4 divided by 2 over 7 is 21 over 8. So that's pretty easy. But let's try one more example. Let's try 15 over 16 divided by 9 over 22. Again, the first thing we want to do is rewrite our problem. We'll change the divided by 9 over 22 into times 22 over 9. Now all we have to do is multiply. But since these numbers are kind of big, I'm going to use my calculator to help. Let's see here. So we have, all right. On the top, we have 15 times 22 equals 330. And on the bottom, we have 16 times 9 equals 144. So the answer to our division problem is 330 over 144. Of course, that could be simplified for your final answer on a test, but we cover simplifying fractions in another video. All right, that's how you divide fractions. You just multiply by the reciprocal and you have your answer. But there's one more thing I want to show you. You already know that the line between the top and bottom number of a fraction is just another form of the division symbol. Well, that means you'll sometimes see fraction division problems written like this. This shows the top fraction, 2 over 3, being divided by the bottom fraction, 4 over 5. It's really just that we have a fraction made up from other fractions. The top number is a fraction, and the bottom number is a fraction. It just looks a little confusing because we have all these fraction lines here. But we can make it look a lot better. Let's rewrite this as a multiplication problem by taking the reciprocal of the bottom number, the fraction that we're dividing by, and multiplying it by the fraction on top. There, that looks easier to do, and it's really the same problem. We just need to multiply to get the answer. So 2 times 5 equals 10, and 3 times 4 equals 12. Okay, so there you have it. What sounded really hard turns out to be as easy as flipping fractions upside down. If you can multiply fractions, then you can divide fractions too. Don't forget to practice what you've learned by doing the exercises for this section.
Alright, so, in a nutshell, keep, change, flip is the same thing as just simply flipping that second fraction in your problem and multiplying rather than dividing. Alright, go ahead and on your iPads, I need you to click on the release, or EOG release questions. Wait. Go to Monday. I think Monday is the one that is copy, so you guys will be able to annotate right on. But go to modules, and I'll go through the playlist. I'm gonna click on the EOG released questions, and it should take you to where You'll be able to annotate right there on your page. Let me know if it does not. Oops, wrong one. No, I don't know. Let's go ahead and do forward. Is it downloading for you guys or no?
Yeah, I got mine.
So like I said, it's extremely large file. So it might take a minute to.
Yeah, I have mine on time.
Working yet? Some of you guys have it pulled up? Okay. Alright, so once you get it pulled up, please go to number 5. So once it's up, go to number 5. Way down here. Hold on. Number 5. Alright, so we should all be looking at number 5. Thumbs up when you get there. Alright, we're gonna go ahead, it's fine, babe. It's 132 pages. It's going to take a minute. We're going to go ahead and get started with this, just so that we don't spend time just waiting. You guys can see the problem as well as you're going to be doing the problem in your notebook. I don't know what y'all are googly eyeing each other for, but you need to pay attention up here. Alright, so it says, Jamal will cut a piece of wood that is 2.5 feet long into 1/4 foot sections. How many sections will result? Alright, so what is important in this question? So if you're annotating or you're able to annotate, what's important? There's gotta be more than one person who knows in this classroom. Jonathan? No, there's more than that that's important. Yes, those are the numbers that we're gonna be using, but we have to know what we're doing with those numbers. So it's more than just 2.5 and 1/4. Mikael? So the key word is cut. Why is that a key word? Why is that a key word, Christiana? It means what?
It tells us the operation that we have to do.
Which is gonna be what? Division. Okay, and then what else is important? What else is important in this question, Ronnie?
Didn't you want 4 sections?
So we already got that, that's what Jonathan told us, but what else is important in this question, Kaya?
How many sections will result?
So the actual question itself, how many sections will result? Now, this number right here is what? The 2.5 is what? No, our total. Why is that important?
Because that's what is
Does that go first or second?
first.
First. Alright, so in your notebooks, you are doing 2.5 divided by 1/4. Stand up when you have your answer. Alright, what do we have to do with 2.5? Can we divide 2.5 divided by 1/4? Can we do that? Yes or no? No, we cannot. So what do we have to do with 2.5? Someone other than Ronnie. Someone other than Mikael. Camden.
You gotta change the mixed number to an improper fraction.
Okay, and how do I do that?
You do 2 times 2, and then you add the 1.
So 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. And I always use my original denominator. So now I have 5/2 divided by 1/4. What do I do from here? What do I do from here? Zoe? What do I do from 5/2 divided by 1/4? What'd you do in your notebook, babe? So how did you get that answer if you showed no work? It's right. I just need to know how you got it.
Used a different strategy.
That's okay. Even though you might have used it, okay, listen, even though you might have used a different strategy, you should still be able to tell me how to use this strategy. So what do I do with 5/2 divided by 1/4? There are 3 letters you need to tell me. Thank you. Y'all, I do not make you do this strategy, but you need to understand this strategy because in 7th and 8th and 9th and 10th and 11th and 12th grade, they stop doing keep, change, flip, and they start saying find the reciprocal. You need to use the reciprocal. So you need to understand that keep, change, flip is the reciprocal. So if you can do all this in your head, that's fantastic, great, grand, wonderful. That's going to be a benefit on the EOG. But it is not going to be a benefit come next year throughout the rest of your school years. So understand, I don't care what way you find, but you do need to understand certain ways. Okay? So 5/2 times 4/1. What does that give me? 5/2 times 4/1. What does that give me, William?
It gives you 10/2.
No, it does not. What do you get when you multiply 5 times 4?
10, oh no, 20.
What do you get when you multiply 2 times 1?
And we read out.
What?
Oh,
Y'all, I'm not asking for rocket science. I really am not. William, what do you get when you multiply 2 times 1?
2.
Thank you, Jesus Lord. All right, so do we see an answer of 20 halves. Technically, do we see 20 fraction bar half? No, we don't. We don't see 20 with a line and 2 for our answer choices, do we? No. So then what does that tell us we have to do with our answer choice? What do we have to do with it? No. Simplify it, which obviously this is not a step that you need to show me because hopefully everybody can do 20 divided by 2 and get the answer of, what's our answer?
10.
Lord, y'all, it's gonna, a whole lot of y'all are gonna be sitting in here next year if this is how it's gonna go. Woo, Jesus Lord. All right, moving on, go to number 15. What do you notice about number 15? What do you notice about number 15? Troy?
It also has 2 and then 2.5.
Yeah, my fault. I should have asked that question better. What do you notice about the type of question number 15 is?
Oh.
It's not a multiple choice question. So you have to be able to put your fractions in proper form or improper fractions. So like let's say your answer comes out to be, this is not the answer, but let's say it's 5 3/4. You cannot put 5 3/4 into this bar. Because if you put 5 3/4, what did you just put in there?
53 over 4.
53 over 4. That is not the answer we got, was it? We got 5 3/4. So you have to know how to write your answers as improper fractions when it comes to the open responses, is what these are called. All right, so essentially I have to do 5 times 4 plus 3, right? And I end up with what? What's 5 times 4 plus 3? Emma. So I would end up with 23/4. That's what I put in here as my answer if I end up with a mixed number. Which you shouldn't, because when you divide fractions, 9 times out of 10 you end up with an improper fraction, so that's what you put in to start with. Why are your hands on your iPad? All right. Let's go ahead and annotate this question. So we have, Steve has 2.5 cups of flour. One of his recipe requires 1/8 cup of flour. What is the maximum number of times Steve can complete the recipe? So what's important in our question? So we're annotating right now. What's important? Wyatt, what's something that's important?
2 and 1.
Okay, and why is this number important, Wyatt?
Part of the problem?
It's part of our problem, but what do we know about that 2.5? What is it gonna ultimately be? We're gonna have to change it to an improper fraction. All right. What else is important in this question? Ronnie?
One of his recipes require 1/8 cups of flour.
All right, so we could do the whole sentence, but let's think about some of the informations. You don't want to have your entire time spent highlighting and annotating, right? So we really do want to pull out the most important information. So one recipe requires 1/8. That's important. And then what's the last part that is important for us to know? Cristiano? All right, I'm going to do maximum in a different color. Why? Why is that word really, really, really important to us in our question? Isaac, why do you think that word is important?
Because it means the most.
It means the most. So we are looking for the biggest number then, right?
Yeah.
Alright, so let's go ahead and now let's solve this problem. So 2.5 is what to me? What is 2.5? What is 2.5 to us for this problem? Kaya? It's not the maximum. What is 2.5 to us? What's another word? I think you know, but I think, yes. So this is our total, and Kaya, why is it important for us to know that our total?
Because it's how many cups of flour here.
Right. So we are going to do 2.5 divided by 1/8. All right, do that in your notebook. Stand up when you have your answer. I don't care which method you use, just make sure that you can answer questions that I'm going to ask. All right, let's go ahead and go over this problem. So what do we have to do with 2.5 before we get started? What do we have to do with 2.5 before we get started? Elisa. Yes, ma'am. So we are going to do 2 times 2 plus 1. Does everybody understand where I'm pulling those numbers from? Is there anybody who's like, I don't know where you're getting the 2 and the 2 and the 1? Everybody knows. I just want to make sure. All right, so 2 times 2 is what? 4 plus 1? 5. So this becomes 5 halves. Ooh, that's a terrible looking 2. So 5 halves divided by 1/8. All right, what do we do from here? Olivia, what do I have to do from here, sweetie? All right, so I'm going to keep, change, and I'm going to flip. So I keep the first one, change division to multiplication, and I flip my second one. What do I get when I multiply straight across with 5 times 8? What do I get? Leo? What do I get when I do 5 times 8? 40. And Leo, what do I do when I do 2 times 1?
2.
All right, again, this is one of those numbers that is pretty easy. You don't have to show your work for this one. What do I do with 40/20ths? William,
You divide.
do I have to?
Huh?
Do I have to?
Right.
No? Because it's open response, right? So can I leave it as 40/2? Because I can put it in here like that. Does that equal the same thing as 40 divided by 2? What's 40 divided by 2? 20. So this is one of those, that's a atrocious looking tool. We're not going to talk about that. This is one of those things where if you wanted to, you can put that in as an open response, as long as you put it in correctly. Or if you took it that step further, and you divided, and you did 40 divided by 2, and you got 20, you can also put 20 in. So whichever one you want to do is the correct answer because they both equal what? Right. All right, questions about these first 2 questions we've gone over? Yes, no? We're good? How do you feel about dividing fractions?
Good.
Okay. All right, so now you are going to go on to section number 2. And you are going, sorry, I lied. You're going to number 35. Just kidding. Sorry. 35. Maybe. I can get there. All right, number 35 says which value from the set half, 2/3, 4/3, or 5/2 is a value of x that will make the equation 3/4 divided by x equals 9/8. True. So this one's a little bit different for us. So what's important in my question? What's important in that question? Mikhail? Huh? Baby, speak up. Alright, so the value set, these numbers are going to be important. And what else did you say? Okay, and someone else help them out. What else is important in this question? Lily.
The equation 3/4 divided by x equals 9/8.
Okay. What else is important? Ronnie. Huh?
I was gonna say what you said.
Okay. So that will make the equation true. Alright? That's very important because we have 4 options. I'm not going to tell you how to solve this problem. I'm going to see what you guys do. So go ahead, solve it, stand up, and you have your answer. Alright. Now see, how many of you guys looked at your answer choices and used those to help you? Okay? How many of you guys just said, okay, I'm just going to plug in until I get 9/8? And that's a perfectly good strategy. You have multiple choice, use them, right? So if you're using that strategy, you're ultimately doing 3/4 divided by half, and then you do your keep, change, flip, and that gives you 6/4. Does that work? No. So we know it's not A. So then you do the same thing. So 3/4 divided by 2/3, keep, change, flip, 3/4 times 3/2, which gives you 9/8. Does that answer your question? Yes, it does. All right, so that is one strategy. Does anybody want to share another strategy that they did?
Okay. I realized that
3/4 divided by x equals 9/8. That means 3/4 divided by 9/8 would also equal x. So I just did that.
So you did 9/8 divided by 3/4.
3/4 divided by 9/8.
Okay, so you just used the numbers in the problem, and you did 3/4
I just flopped the 9/8 into x.
divided by 9/8. So that gives you 3/4 times 8 over 9, which gives you what, 24/36?
Yeah. Which equals 2/3.
We're gonna simplify. Okay, that's another strategy that works. All right, yes, ma'am.
Yeah, basically the same thing, except I did 9/8 before, so it makes it the wrong way.
You didn't necessarily mix it the wrong way. You just, instead of having to do the extra step over here, I guess you still have to divide, didn't you, to simplify it. Either way works, because ultimately, what do you want to get? You want to get 2/3. So this is one of those where there's not one way that gets it right or wrong. All right, just make sure that whatever strategy you use, you understand it. All right, questions about this one? No, we're good? All right. I feel like we are good with the dividing fractions, so I want to go ahead and get some of the rotation in today so that you guys kind of get used to that and just kind of see how it's going to feel for the rest of the week. Alright, so you do not have to take everything with you. Just take your notebook and your pencil, obviously. So my red group, which is the versatile group, which actually I do not have out here, so just kidding. You are going to be on, hang on to that one. Dividing fraction task cards, which I believe is Cristiano's group. So there's a dividing task cards at that group, and there's a dividing task cards at this group. All right, so my orange group, so Gemma, Zoe, B, Elisa, Delilah, Kyra, and Isaac, you guys are moving here. I think there's actually only 3 of you that are in the room right now. So get up and move over there if I just called your name. Dividing fractions matching game, which is William's group. You are going, that's my green group, Aiden, Emma, Cristiano, Kaylee, and Camden, head over there.